recording.
Sweet.
And welcome to episode 28 of Stories from a Bar. Also the first quarantine edition, so this is going to be new all around.
Yes, trend-setting.
Indeed. I'm your host, Chris Osborne, and today I'm hanging out virtually with head brewer of C.H. Evans Brewing at the Albany pump station, Sam Pagano. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me. Had a blast the first time at the restaurant. Fortunately, can't do that now, so now I'm in my living room.
At least tell me you have clothes on.
I was about to say pants optional.
Pants are optional. Well, I'm wearing shorts, but yeah.
I was about to say I'm actually wearing shorts myself, so it's true.
It's that's one of the great things about this quarantine stuff going on is it really doesn't matter what I look like 5 days of the week.
Yeah.
Really the other two are kind of questionable too.
Exactly. I mean, I feel like it's odd. I feel like I've looked better this week than I normally do at work because I've been out seeing people. But today I look like dog shit.
I'm sure you look great. We have no video to go on, but I'm sure you look fine.
You sound like my mom.
So, yeah, man, thanks for taking some time on your day off to be on the show again.
Sure.
Like we mentioned, it's a little bit different this time. This is the first episode I'm recording at home, actually, because of all the virus stuff going on out there. So you're kind of like my little guinea pig here.
Awesome. Is it going to be easier? Is it going to sound better than being, I mean, obviously your, title of the podcast is Stories from a Bar, so it makes sense to have
Well, I guess now it's going to be Stories from a Virtual Bar.
Yeah. So I guess like the background clanging can be hard when you're recording stuff, but it's also kind of part of
it's one of the great things. I love doing the show in different, places just because I'd like to get a little bit of that ambience in the background and things like that. I probably lose a little bit with sound quality when it comes to, trying to get things cleaned up. So I'm sure this will certainly sound much more clear for when we're talking. But like I said, I think it's important to get that ambience when I can. But this should be interesting.
I'm down.
It tells me it's recording, so I guess I'll find out once we're done.
It says it's recording on my end. See, I'm like a producer now, too.
Excellent. So it was a little over a year ago that you were on the show. Things different now. Like I said, we're both hanging out in our own living rooms. I've done a few other things on this since I set up my little recording studio here, but this is the first episode I'm doing from home. I got my boom mic all set.
Nice.
And I was able to catch part of your virtual happy hour yesterday.
Yeah, that was a good time. I had a lot.
It looked fun. You were talking about your struggle pizza when I was able to finally sit down and check it out. But how did that end up coming out?
It was delicious. I ate 2 struggle slices this morning for breakfast that I had left over. Super weird pizza. I was just literally. I said in the virtual happy hours, I just kind of like walked around the pump station at work, and because we're not open right now, we are still doing takeout, but there's still a lot of things that we're not utilizing. And we had like a ton of pre-cut Swiss cheese and salami. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna use this on my pizza. So Swiss cheese, salami, baked it, and then when it was done, covered it in shredded romaine lettuce because I had 1 spear left in my fridge that was turning a little brown. And
probably a good time to use it.
Right, and some spicy mayo. It was actually Hellman's mayonnaise mixed with gochujang, which is like a fermented Korean chili paste, and it was surprisingly delicious.
Struggle seems like an appropriate word.
Exactly, yeah.
Finding stuff to put on there.
Exactly. Hopefully I inspired people to clean out their fridge in pizza form.
Hey, man, this is a time where you shouldn't let stuff go to waste.
That's right.
Indeed.
And hopefully people are realizing that more now too.
Yeah, it's a struggle between, eating the crap that I've said I have in case of emergencies but never really want to eat and, ordering out or going to the store.
I still have a closet with a 50-pound bag of rice and like 40 cans of beans that I haven't looked at. So I know what you're saying.
So we were talking a little bit about what we were drinking before. Why don't we bring that up as you were kind enough to deliver some beer to me the other day? But we'll get into that in a second. What were you drinking?
What am I right now? So for today, I mixed it up a little bit. I got going early in the morning.
I think I cracked my first beer open at a little after 11:30 today.
Yep. And that's actually showing some reserve. I like that.
I thought about doing it earlier, but I did want to exercise a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Well, you had to bring that up, make me feel bad now, didn't you? But yeah, no, I started early, so I wanted a little bit of mimosa action, but I figured why not combine that with some 9-pin. So I had 9-pin mimosas for
Haven't done
a
that
couple
before. How
hours.
was it?
Delicious. I mean, think about boozy apple juice with orange juice. I mean, really, it's
Fair
not
point.
bad at all.
Now's the time to experiment. So yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think it was fantastic. I wouldn't. I'm sure there's like bars and restaurants that do brunch that actually probably have that on the menu. I wouldn't doubt it. But it was good, and I drank those for a couple hours, and now I'm on to my raspberry sounds, which is a sour ale co-fermented with raspberries and blackberries.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty tasty. It looks pink. It's pretty to look at. Tastes good.
I'm drinking some of the Quackenbush Kolsch you dropped off, which is
Yes,
nice, light, and refreshing.
yes, love that beer.
I drank my Pump Station Pale Ale yesterday.
What'd you think? I switched up the hopping on that one quite a bit. I think now it's right where I want it.
I liked it, man. Like I said when I posted about it, I've been hit a lot of IPAs the couple of
Yep,
days before, so it was nice to drink something that wasn't an IPA, and that hit
yep,
the that certainly hit the spot
excellent.
again, and as well as this Kolsch, another taste bud refresher here.
Very opposite of IPA there.
Yeah. Plus, and to wrap up the trio that you dropped off, I have that West Coast IPA sitting in the fridge, which I am looking forward to. Which I'll probably drink
Excellent,
that one tomorrow.
excellent. I like it. So you're spreading it out.
Yeah. Well, well, the problem is with these are all crawlers, of course. So I know when I open it, I have to be ready to at least drink 2 pints,
Yep.
or
Well, that's been me opening up my 64-ounce growlers.
exactly. That's another reason why I don't get growlers filled often, because I know once I open it, I got to be ready to pretty much drink it all within 24 hours.
Yeah, it's a commitment.
It is, but I'll probably get one filled later this week.
Smart. Gotta challenge yourself sometimes.
Oh, I know, man. You got to have goals for yourself,
Okay.
different ways to entertain yourself these days. And honestly, when it comes to my beer drinking, before, now that I'm working from home 3 days a week and I go into the office 2 days a week, I didn't realize how many different type of beer drinking glasses I had.
Oh, tell me about it.
So I pour a different beer in a different glass just to kind of mix things up,
That's
trying
the
to
way to
use
do
them
it.
all just for the hell of it.
I'm the same way, and it's a good time to use them all right now.
Why don't all right. Well, I want to get into the pump station. As I said, you delivered these to me because this is a time of change for everybody.
Yeah, real
With
wild.
obviously with some of the restaurants shutting down, for good while the virus stuff goes on. You guys are close to the public, but you're still doing takeout and beer delivery,
Yeah.
which obviously is fantastic. You're out there doing God's work. Um,
I try to be. It's really tough. So
tell me how beer delivery is going for you,
beer deliveries have been going really, really well.
because you've been
Almost
doing
like
it.
surprisingly so.
It's been
You know,
about, has it been about 2 weeks since you started doing it? I think
I'm gonna
a week and a half or
say,
so.
yeah, about a week and a half or so, and it's just been phenomenal. The sport's been huge. What I've been really taken aback with is there's been certain communities where we go to, kind of suburban, residential neighborhoods, and they're so well connected within their own like Facebook and social media groups that I show up to one house and like, okay, now you got to start that house 17, 20, 30, blah, blah, blah. And I spend a good hour and a half just driving, stopping every couple of houses, and there's adults waiting there like I'm the ice cream man.
And
Uh,
that's fantastic.
it really is. And I can't thank those people enough. Super supportive. They make it super easy on me too, because again, I'm an idiot. I'm not a tech guy. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Some other companies are very quickly getting websites up and running and ordering. I don't know how to do that shit. And to be honest, no one that we have working there right now does or has the time to do it. So it's just been me kind of throwing my personal information out there and be like, call me up. So having that kind of organization without them even knowing I needed it has been really awesome. And all in all, the deliveries have been great. Kind of been all over the Capital District. People are being real supportive with that, and with the food from the restaurant as well.
That's awesome. And when you dropped it off, I mentioned I used to deliver flowers, so I know
Yeah,
what life on the road is like day after day, just
wild.
dropping stuff off. Like I used to be able to find my way pretty much anywhere without thinking about it. I knew the back roads, think I delivered flowers somewhere between a year and two. I don't remember. And that was like 10 years ago at this point. So if you just drop me on a road now, I would be super lost. Like I forgot all those, secret routes that I used to know. Now I'm always looking shit up and checking my phone. I'm like, ah.
Oh no, and I have found some unique areas that I've been. Hell, I was all the way out in Ghent, New York, which I thought. So I went to Ghent, New York. As I was like, oh, the hell, I'll deliver a beer. We got nothing else going on. Well, Ghent, New York is like 40 minutes from Albany, so I was like, whatever. It's a beautiful drive out there. And then I got a message, hey, can you stop in Averill Park too? And again, I don't know the area that well, I guess. And in my mind, I always pictured Averill Park was next to Ghent.
Yep.
And then when I put it in my GPS, it was like 40 minutes from Ghent the other way. So I was like, oh shit. But yeah, so yeah, I've seen the rural country, and I've been in the middle of the cities as well.
It was delivering flowers. There was one time I went in the complete opposite direction I thought I needed to go in. And it was like a half hour before I realized that I'm not going the right way. So I had to call home base and be like, I think you're going to have to send someone else.
Yeah. Is that how that works? They just have like a store loaded up with like bouquets, and then they just.
Well, yeah. I mean, I
send you out.
Well, kind of. I worked for the supermarket chain Price Chopper, who changed their name to Market 32 now, and most of the Price Choppers had a floral department. So it was a matter of getting a call from the home base where all the vans were,
right,
saying this store has this many deliveries. Go pick them up and take them out to the surrounding area.
See, I've always wondered how like the 1-800-flower places work. Like, are there unnamed stores somewhere, or do they just roll up at Price Choppers and do that too? Like, I don't understand how that works.
It's when Price Chopper got a delivery, like I said, this was at least over 10 years ago, so maybe it changed a little bit. But whenever they had flowers for a delivery, they would just call the main office, which is where we were stationed, and there'd be a dispatcher that would just send us to those stores for the day. Like they'd send us up to a certain area. There were times where I just sit in my van and do homework or read. It was interesting times.
See, the things you'll learn on Stories from a Bar.
And actually, I don't know if you've ever been out to this place called Palatine Bridge, but it's a ways out somewhere. I haven't been back since, but it does have an Amish community. So I'd be driving by, the Amish on their horse and buggy. There'd be a place for the Amish to actually tie their horse and buggy up at the Price Chopper, because I guess they would at least use the pharmacy from time to time.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought they were basically cut off from everything.
Did you like pull out your flip phone back in the day and try snapping pictures, or what?
That is, I did not, but I know that's frowned upon.
Oh yeah, I've heard that too. One time, my college buddy went to go visit him. He lives like, I don't even know, kind of like below, south of the Binghamton area on the Pennsylvania border. He's got like a rural cabin, and that was the first time I saw Amish in real life, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, that was, I don't know what.
It's no Rumspringa.
Yeah, that was pretty cool though. Respect the Amish. I love.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Kingpin's a great movie too, by the way.
It's a hard lifestyle. I don't think I could hack it. That's for sure.
No, definitely not.
So how's with all the adjustments, how's the pump station been holding up now with food pickup and everything?
We're holding up, but it's a day by day struggle. Like every little sale really, really counts. We did when the shit all hit the fan, you could stop going to restaurants. We did have to lay off 95% plus of our staff.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
We have a couple servers that rotate to help with to-goes in the bar area. We have a couple cooks that rotate to help, as well as the head chef, the general manager, and myself that are still on. People have been super supportive. It's been great. I mean, again, we're holding on right now. You can't count us out yet, but it can't go on forever, and ideally not. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's grim, the outlook, and every other day or every day, all of a sudden it's like, well, now we're going to stop having these people go to work. Now we're going to stop having these people, and it's getting to the point where it's like, God damn, just lock us up if that's what you need to do. Shut down everything for 2 weeks, and let's get it over with, because it just seems like it's going to keep dragging on, and we certainly can't last forever doing this, and neither can people, because if you're out of work, how long are you going to be able to order takeout and shit?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's I do what I can to help support by buying a lot of local beer and food here and there, but the problem is It's
Yeah,
interesting because
I
we're
know.
fortunate enough to live in a great area that's just full of options, but
Right.
I can't support them all
Yeah,
every
yeah,
day.
yeah. You can only afford for so long. I mean, a lot of people were out of work too, you know. So who knows? We're gonna see what's happening. Like I said, it's a day by day thing. So far, so good. The beer, again, the beer sales have been massive for us. It does kind of suck. I don't know if you were at that point yesterday when I was talking on the happy hour that, we have a new head chef that we hired. I think he worked under. We didn't even announce that we have a new head chef because then this happened.
Yeah.
You know what
Oh
I mean?
man.
And so this poor bastard, he was our sous chef for a little while, maybe a month or two. So he's been around, but like, what a terrible time to like take the reins over, and stressful too. I can only imagine, because now you got a lot of pressure almost being like you gotta, really, really watch your costs, but you still gotta put out the food. It needs to be, so he's doing a great job. Cameron McGee, shout out. He's a transplant from Wisconsin area.
Oh
Uh,
really?
yeah, yeah. I mean, he was here before this happened. It was like he just showed up, and then all of a sudden it was COVID lockdown. But still pretty shitty scenario to be in, and obviously not ideal for
Oh yeah,
anybody.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm
With
still like, when do we want to introduce our new chef on social media and stuff? Who knows? Maybe this is a good idea to do it now.
I mean, it
Uh,
can't, I guess anything that draws attention certainly can't hurt
exactly,
right now.
and that's just what we're constantly getting emails from different associations and this, like, how to boost your business social media, blah blah blah, and stand out. So who knows? Before this airs, it may even happen. So we'll see.
So are you able to are you cooking up any new stuff? Are you able to, or is it really just kind
Uh,
of focus in on what's currently offered when it
Mostly
comes to?
focusing in on what's currently offered. So I had planned on. I was actually no. I think today I was supposed to be on my way back from vacation. A buddy of mine were driving down to Asheville, North Carolina, and then Nashville, Tennessee. Obviously, Nashville had that big tornado, and then of course this shit
Oh
happened
yeah,
and shut
I
everything down.
totally forgot about that. That's gonna be even worse there.
Yeah, I know. So we were, that's where we are supposed to be. So I had planned pretty well to not have to worry about making beer again until sometime after getting back, which is going to be now. But obviously, sales have been drastically less. So we have a good amount of beer. Unfortunately, what does suck is I did, right before all this happened, I brewed double batch 20 barrels for us, which is roughly, I don't know, 630 gallons or so of brown ale and Quackenbush Kolsch, which you're drinking now, because that's also what we sell to distribution. But of course, with all the bars and restaurants closed, there is no distribution. So we're
Yeah.
also hoping this gets over soon, so our beer can still go out fresh. We don't have to take a loss on that as well.
Oh yeah, that would be a super bummer.
Yeah, that's the kind of the crappy thing about beer. Other industries, it sucks for everybody. But you know what? Your vodka is not going to go bad. A lot of times, your cider isn't going to go bad. Your wine is just going to probably get better. Our beer goes bad. Beer, it doesn't go bad to the point where it's going to spoil and make you sick, but it gets stale and tastes not good. So it's a intensely perishable item. So it's really important that we sell it as fast as can. We say on average in craft beer, it's like from when it's put on draft to when you should consume it is within 3 months or so. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah,
it's got to be even more tough to find that balance now, especially since things are changing from day to day. How much to brew and have brewed and have on
yeah,
hand.
it is. I like to usually have when we have the way it's set up. We have 12 open taps. One of them we keep with a visiting cider, which has always been 9 10, and then the other 11 are beer options. And yeah, we're getting low on a few of them. I have one other beer that's ready to go. It's another New England IPA. It's very delicious. It needs to get on draft. But other than that, the other ones that are low, I don't really have plans on replacing right now. I think I'm just going to let them go down and just have a draft list get smaller, more condensed, and then just focus on selling those beers.
Yeah.
Because that's just, we have no choice. I mean, literally, our place, for those people that are listening that haven't been to the Albany pump station, it's a massive building. So just keeping the lights on for a week is expensive. Knew that going, Neil C.H. Evans himself knew that going in, but obviously didn't plan for something like this. And
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah, no one does.
yeah, and no insurance companies give a shit about this either. So you're just figure it out. So it's a very costly place to run. So right when this happened, I was about ready to order grain. Actually, before they locked everything down, And I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't order grain right now. And then, of course, they shut everything down. And, a pallet of grain will make us about 3 beers. It costs like $2,000. And if you can't sell those beers, that's $2,000. Now you got to owe somebody.
Yeah,
So,
man.
yeah. So right now, I'm not sitting on any grain, just the beers that are in the tanks and beers that we have in the kegs and focusing on that. Packaging a ton of it in growlers because that's how we've been selling. And that's basically it. And again, like just like the restaurant and everything else, we're just playing it by day.
Once all of this started happening and you guys kind of had to gradually shut down to the public, did you have to get like special permission to start delivering the beer?
Yeah, actually, the governor was pretty. Say whatever you want about Cuomo before all this. He's been great for this industry in New York State. He understands that we rake in millions and billions of dollars. He understands the craft industry, beer, wine, cider, spirits, all of it, employ tons of people. So he gets the economic impact we have on New York State. So they were pretty quick to respond to this. So right away, we could never roll up to your apartment complex with a Subaru full of crowlers, right? We can now. Restaurants could never sell you a margarita to go in a plastic container that normally stores wonton soup. But here we are, and they've really loosened up quite a bit. I won't say it's a straight free for all because I kind of pushed the limits on that a little bit, and they're like, no, you can't do that. But for the most part, they understand we got to do what we can to survive.
And and it's interesting because even not just you guys, I had Frog Alley deliver some beer earlier in the week or last week at this point. It's hard to keep track of days now. But even places that weren't doing things, like filling crawlers or growlers or delivering are doing that now.
Yeah.
To try to stay afloat.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, think about it. Like I was saying, our beer's perishable. So now you have this restaurant, say that may try to do takeout. Maybe they can only do takeout for a couple of weeks, but they still have all these kegs in their cooler. Well, what the hell are you supposed to? You know what I mean? Your beer's going to go bad. That's a huge loss for restaurants. And I know because we're not just a brewery, we're a restaurant too. Run on just the thinnest of margins. So you got to do something. I know some places, the Hollow, great spot in Albany, was the Bayou for a long time around Pearl Street, big music venue. And
yeah, man, it's heartbreaking to see that they had to shut the doors and
they shut the doors, but they did like flash sale, and they just sold all their beer for like $10 a pound. Their fan base showed up, knew a deal when they saw one, and helped them clean out their inventory, which again is awesome show of support from people, and they'll be fine. I think they're going to come through it all. And they just decided like screw the takeout thing, let's just cut costs, you know what I mean, and just close down and wait it out. And that's a totally fair approach.
No, you certainly can't blame them for doing that.
No, not at all.
When you started delivering, you were also filling growlers, right?
Yeah.
So who put the kibosh on that?
Yeah, I posted it in one of our local beer groups here on Facebook, and somebody didn't like that I was doing that, so they reported us to the State Liquor Authority, and they politely called us at their restaurant. Thankfully, they talked to a manager at the time and not me because I'm a hothead and I probably would have got a license.
Oh man.
But yeah, that still is a mobile bar, and they didn't alleviate that law. Mobile bars are still legal. I'm just driving around free flowing, booze.
Interesting.
So I guess that was where they drew the line. So it's not. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't a complete free for all. There are still rules. But yeah. So they put the kibosh on that, which it was great. It did a ton of sales for us those days. And obviously, as a brewer, I spend most of my days cleaning. I know how to keep things clean and sanitary. I knew I was doing all the right steps, but it did a lot of sales. But I've also sped up now with just crowlers. I don't have to stop and fill stuff. So now I can drop and go. So when my phone is beeping, beep, 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 I can be a little bit quicker and get more beer to more hands. So,
well, that's a plus at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Like look at the positives these days.
I did see a headline, maybe it was like 2 weeks ago at this point, about a possible shortage of crawler cans. That might be starting to get tough to find, especially like I said, now that other places are kind of jumping in to just try to get rid of their stock or do any business they can. Have you had a tough time coming across them?
Yeah, no crawlers, and that's really terrifying. And few places I've reached out of are both do all the same thing. At least 3 weeks. We've been selling upwards, let's just say on average of 100 plus crawlers a day. The pallet I had originally before us. There's probably 1,000 cans. I probably have like 200 left. So, it's getting scary because our crowler sales are roughly half our food sales every day. And without them, we most certainly will close our doors. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I just have to. So to think like, wow, we could just run out of this because they don't have them in stock, and that could be, the nail in the coffin is pretty scary. I'm doing everything I can. I'm trading hops with a friend tomorrow for cans. 100 cans here and there. I've sourced 32-ounce little glass growlers that we may potentially, obviously more expensive than the can, but we may go to, and also the particular crowler machine we have from Dixie Canners actually can convert to any can size.
All right.
It's very expensive. I've about to spend $1,000 or so, but
yeah,
I can buy the parts that convert it so it could seem, a 12-ounce can or a 16-ounce can. So maybe we may explore those options as well. And honestly, I wish I had a plan for something because like everything I've said so far, just figure it out each day.
Yeah, man.
Tomorrow I'll talk, and we'll figure it out.
And it's crazy. And, that's the most terrifying part is because literally every day is different than the last. You can't tell what the next day is going to be like.
Yep, exactly.
You mentioned like 16-ounce and 12-ounce cans. It's funny. I've gotten so used to like drinking from pint-sized 16-ounce cans that whenever I hold a 12-ounce can of anything, I just feel like a giant now.
Yeah, and you feel like you got a problem when you drink it in like 3
I'm like, I can crush this just in my hand.
Yep. I know. Hey, that's how it always felt to me as is. And then I've had the same thing happen with the bigger can. So now when I grab a 12-ounce can, you could paint my hands green. I look like Shrek.
Well, let's talk about how you've been keeping yourself busy when you're not brewing or delivering beer. So how's quarantine life at home on your day off?
I'm getting if we're being honest, Chris, I'm getting huge. I'm just blowing up like a blimp. I'm drinking a lot of beer, which isn't so odd, except for the fact that during normal a work week, I'm sweating my ass off.
Yeah, you're usually spending at least 8 hours a day running around and doing stuff.
Yeah, and I go to the gym and stuff. So now I'm not doing that, and I'm still consuming beer. I have a big pizza habit. It's what I am. I was built on pizza. I was born for pizza.
I love pizza.
So it's trying to just restrict eating too much, which is good because when I'm on the road driving around every day, won't eat anything all day. I'll come home, but it'll be like 8 p.m. by the time I get home. Then I'll eat a pizza, and then an hour later I'm sleeping. So it's probably the worst possible way to go about your diet. But these are trying times.
Desperate times, desperate measures.
That's right. I've been watching a lot of Netflix, reading a lot of news. Oddly enough, I read a lot of books, and during all this, I haven't even touched my books.
No, it's weird. Like I said, I have more free time on my hands. And I keep telling myself I'm going to be productive, with the podcast and things like that. But it's usually a toss up between that and being lazy and watching something on TV or playing video games.
Yeah.
And so far, more often than not, the video games and TV have won.
Yes. Oh, big time for me. Big time. Yeah, it's huge. It's really funny because I had more time, more or less. I have more time. But yeah, I haven't even touched my books, and I read those every day. So it's a little weird.
I will say this, though. I've been really good about hitting the exercise bike for an hour each day that I'm home.
Yeah. See, that's where I'm going to get back on. That's where I fell off. I like to go to the gym and run every day.
Well, I'm telling myself now that it's even more essential because I am drinking more and eating more.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Hey, Hunt, my dad will give me a hard time every time I see him. My dad, was a phys ed teacher growing up. He coached football. He's in athletics. The guy works out every day of his life. He's 62. He looks like he's, 45 or so. But he gets on me all the time. He's like, "You're fat. You got to work out every day." And I always used to tell him, "Well, Dad, I bust my balls at work. I sweat through like 3 shirts." He goes, "Work is not the same as working out."
Thanks, Dad.
So I know better than anybody that I need to be on the exercise bike in these times. I haven't,
I work out basically to maintain what I already have because I'm not going to get buff. I'm not going to get ripped, and I'm fine with that.
Yep.
It's basically just
it's easy.
It's just so I can maintain all the crap that I currently eat and drink.
Yep. No, I hear you.
And still feel okay about myself.
That was always part of his advice too, because he goes, "I'd be on the treadmill. He'd be like, I'd be dying. I'm working out. He goes, all I'm thinking about is that cold Utica Club when I get home. Yeah, as he always used to say, and I tell my friend Will this, everybody that knows me says it, you got to earn your pints. You got to earn your pints.
Oh yeah, I like to think I did that today. And then I ate a bunch of mozzarella sticks for lunch, so that didn't help.
That's fine. Balance.
Indeed. Are you reading anything good? The last time you picked up one of your books?
I've been all right. Yes, but Pascal. So recently, I've been diving into fantasy. I read all kinds of stuff, mostly fiction. I like creative writing and stuff.
Yeah.
Patrick Rothfuss. He wrote a book called The Name of Wind, and then there's a follow-up, which I just finished reading, Wise Man's Fears, I believe. A Wise Man's Fears.
All right.
Excellent. And it's supposed to be a trilogy. So it's almost, he's got another one coming. It's like the Kingslayer Chronicle or something, or Kingkiller Chronicle. And he's got a third one coming, but it's just like George R.R. Martin with Game of Thrones. Like,
oh God,
people have been waiting for it for years, and it's like, all right, buddy. He's younger than Martin, so like I have faith it'll get written. I don't know about Martin. I hope they got him locked down in a bunker somewhere.
He says he's been writing since he's been in quarantine, but at this point, like I read all the books that were out before the show ended and everything like that.
Yep.
Now I have no interest to read any more that he publishes.
Well, I want to see it because I want it to be drastically different.
It's no reflection of whatever people, whatever you think of the show. I can't go through any more of those books. They were so large and just so wordy unnecessarily.
See, those I just fly through. I have no idea how. I look up and I'm like, oh man, I read 200 pages.
I wanted to start reading the Witcher series because I watched the Netflix show and I played one of the games.
See, I remember the game. The Netflix series, though, I watched it. I struggled getting into it. It was almost a little too soap opera cheesy for me. Like, I don't know. When he would talk to Yennefer and go, Yen, like I just lost it every time. Like, what the hell?
No, I could see a little bit of a soap opera type ish.
He's still pretty. Beat him up a little bit.
Well, if you want to feel even worse about yourself, I was reading that he was just wearing out the leather from his, costume just from wearing it.
Oh yeah, cool. Sure he was. Big beefcake over here.
I thought overall, I thought the show was pretty good, and I really enjoyed the game. So I was going to start reading the series, and I bought one of the books. But it turns out the book I bought is technically is the first part of the actual Witcher series, but he went back and wrote like 2 prequel books. I'm like, son of a bitch! I want to start with the prequel books. Try to find that.
To start with that. Technically, I feel like you start with what they released with. Because that was his mind, and he's the one that wrote it all.
I can, although that book is at my desk at work, so I can't pick that up.
Quarantine. Yeah. See, struggle problems. Here we go again.
I'll be there later this week, so maybe I'll bring it home this time.
Nice.
I will say, though, for at least with the quarantine, I have an excuse not to get a haircut because I fucking hate getting haircuts.
Yeah, I cut my own hair because I hate them so much. And before that, my father cut my hair, and now I'm growing a mullet, so I don't give a shit anything.
Again, it doesn't really matter what we look like anymore.
Oh, no. Well, I can't wait to come out of this. I'm going to look amazing.
I've been seeing a lot of memes about, those before and after quarantine images that people are posting, and it's going to be interesting.
I'm way too nervous to do that. I don't even want to see.
What else have you had going on? Anything else?
Not really. To be honest, this has kind of been consuming my whole life. I texted my buddy this morning I was supposed to be going on vacation with, and I was like, this is the worst fucking vacation I've ever been on.
Oh, that's got to be a bummer because you even had to cancel your vacation because of this.
Yeah, and to be honest, in like my adult vacation life, this was maybe like my 3rd vacation. And my second one was just this past October with my girlfriend. So I haven't done a lot of things where I've like been away from my real job, my adult life for over a week. So no, this one sucks.
Whenever I take vacation days, it's been, I don't even know the last time it's been more than just a couple in a row.
Yeah. That's like what I would do. So like this is, looking forward to it, saving for it, but whatever.
And
it is what it is.
You were going to hit Asheville and Nashville, right?
Yeah, so we were at a compromise. He's a hillbilly. So it's my buddy Will. He's actually really good friends with Aaron. They've known each other since they were babies. They're family friends. I don't know if you know Will or not, but
Don't know Will. Definitely know Aaron.
yeah. So Will is a fiddler. You know, he plays the mandolin and stuff. He really want to go to Nashville because he want to do some honky tonkin and see all these different type of folk country shows and stuff. And I was like, all right, fine, but I don't want to spend that much time in Nashville. Why not drive down and we can go through Asheville too? Asheville, North Carolina, mountain town or mountain little town. It's smaller than Albany.
Oh yeah, I've been there. I've been actually. Yeah, I've gotten tattooed there.
Oh well, that's like a beer capital.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, perfect. This would be a great trip. We'll go to both. We'll road trip it. That's always fun. Stop somewhere. Stop in Philly and get a cheesesteak and some crabs in Maryland or whatever. But yeah, no. Instead of doing that, I've been driving around, sketchily selling beer out of the trunk of my car.
Oh man, if only it was a van, it would be even more creepy.
I know. I'll tell you this right now, and I've told other people on my deliveries, I get really freaked out because at every stop, I put on a new pair of gloves.
Yeah.
As I try, I'm very cautious, wear my gloves, change them once I'm done dealing with the money and everything. And a lot of times I'm in these suburban neighborhoods and I pull up to a house and I'm strapping on my gloves and there's just like kids in the driveway playing basketball. And like little kids, they just stop and look at me. And then you hear them go, "Mom, Dad," and run in the house. And I'm like, oh, fuck. No, that's what I'm here for. It's so weird, uncomfortable. I don't. When this is all over, I'm never going to deliver.
That's hilarious.
Anything ever again.
Oh man, I really wish you were just driving up in an actual ice cream truck now.
Dude, it's so weird. Don't worry, my Subaru with my rattly engine is just as creepy. The tinted windows.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's my conclusion.
Been doing a lot of cleaning too, of course. And I got to tell you, I went into Walmart yesterday for a few things, and just those like cleaning goods aisles are wiped out, and it's ridiculous.
Still?
Oh yeah.
Can you buy toilet paper now? I don't even know.
Well, I didn't need any when I was in there yesterday. When I went in there last week, and they had 2 boxes of like the single Scott rolls, and that was it.
Wow. Well, while we're on the topic of toilet paper, I was reading the Times Union this morning. The original patent for perforated toilet paper was
in Albany, right?
Lark Street, Albany, New York.
Yeah.
And in the patent, that paper goes over the roll, not under. So everybody that's doing it the other way is wrong.
I 100% agree with you.
Good. I'm glad. Because
I'm an overman.
If you didn't, I was going to shut my computer and go eat some pasta.
Seems like an appropriate argument to really, die on a hill on.
That's my line. I draw it in the sand.
That's not a lot of stuff where I'll die on the hill for the argument, but that's one of them. Let me ask you this. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
You answered that pretty quick.
Yeah, no. It's meat in a bread fold. It's different.
How's that any different? It's meat in between, bread.
When I take one slice of bread and I lazily shove salami into it and fold it into my hand, that is not a sandwich. That is meat in a bread case. Different. I can't explain how. It's just different. It's funny the amount of, anger and determination that question draws from people, because I don't have a stance one way or the other, or at least particularly strong enough to argue that I want to argue my points. But we got maybe a little over a year ago or so, we got a new big boss at work. And he was stationed in Pittsburgh, and he was up visiting our group. So he's a remote boss for us. And the first question I asked him was, "Is a hot dog a sandwich?" This is how I introduced myself to the brand new boss. And he Vietnamese, I can't even pronounce that word. I'm drinking too much Kolsch. Vehemently?
Yeah, yes.
Or Vietnamese?
Not Vietnamese. Strongly made his opinion clear that it was not a sandwich. I'm like, okay. I asked the wrong question here.
That's fine. You got to go in strong sometimes.
Yeah. So I love asking people that just to kind of get their reactions.
Oh, no. Bread in a meat fold.
Right at the meat fold. I mentioned earlier, desperate times call for desperate measures. I watched Howard the Duck the other night. Which you saw my Facebook status on.
Yeah, Howard the Duck rocks. I was a little confused though. It looked like he was in 3D. I don't get it.
No, it was the original Howard the Duck. I just rented it from Amazon.
Oh, why they make a 3D like image of Howard? It looked like a video game Howard the Duck.
No, I must have just been the angle I was taking the picture of my TV at.
Oh, I was a little confused about that. I was like, wait, is he watching the original? Howard the
It,
Duck, I remember when I was a little kid, made me so uncomfortable to watch. And I
See,
love it because of that.
and I watched it because I haven't watched it since I was a little kid. Like I know I watched it when I was young. I just don't remember it well. So I had to finally buckle down and 3 or 4 beers later actually bite the bullet and rent it and
Was it
watch it.
uncomfortable as I remember it being?
I didn't think it was uncomfortable. I thought it was worth it.
Yeah, all right, good. Maybe I'll fire that up tonight. What was it? What was
Wait,
it
let me
on?
let me rephrase. Most of it was fine. There were a couple scenes that I'm like, all right, now I'm feeling a little weird
Yeah, you're
watching
like, hold on
this.
a second. People are going to listen to this.
Yeah, let me rephrase my answer there. There were a few scenes. Yes, it seemed a little awkward.
Yeah, especially if you're watching with like your fucking parents or something, you're a little kid. What was that on?
I found it on Amazon.
I was on Amazon. All right, sweet. I'm gonna watch that tonight.
Yeah, 1986, baby.
Oh, that was my birth year.
Yeah, I was 3 years old.
Nice. You're old as dirt.
I'm older than you, son of a bitch.
Yeah, 86, baby. Cinco de Mayo.
Oh wow, were you really Cinco de Mayo?
Cinco de Mayo. The
You were
world
born
changed
to
that day in '86.
you were born to make beer.
That's right. That's true. And easily quaff tequila too. That's another one of my special talents.
Is it?
Oh, I love good tequila.
I'm not a big liquor drinker, so it's been quite some time since I've had tequila.
Honestly, I'm not either, but that's what I'll drink. And
I
I
do like a
wasn't
good
until
I do
my
like a good marg though. Those are great.
yeah. Oh, I like Marks too. But my last owner, he was not my last. Sound like a dog. The previous brewery I worked at, City Seat in Hartford, Connecticut, had an owner, a gentleman who was in his mid 70s. His name was Ron Ronald, which is fucking amazing. And
Ron Ronald.
the guy is a treasure. I've never met anybody so wild and just awesome. And he had a very fine taste for well-made tequila. And he's who got me to drink a tequila. And I go over to his house. We go in his like, fucking wine cave and pull all these great bottles of tequila and make me taste them all and everything. And really, it's the same with everything. Like I'm not a spirits drinker, but if you go to a distillery, Jack Daniels or whatever,
Yeah.
and that person that's touring you and tasting you and their passion comes through and all, you appreciate it differently. It's not like suddenly like, wow, I can sip and savor this and not have to like chug it and chase it with Coke.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
absolutely.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happened with him, with myself when I was in Connecticut in tequila, and I love it now. And it has to be good stuff. Cuervo's garbage. Fortaleza is like one of the best tasting liquor drinks I've ever had. It's they have like the Blanco and Reposado and everything. Just excellent tequila, and it's like $8 a bottle. So of course I never buy it. But when someone's gonna hand me some tequila or they have a good selection, that is usually what I'll drink. It's got to be hard liquor.
When I actually we mentioned Aaron earlier when I said you were gonna be back on the podcast. He wanted me to make sure that I told you, of course, Aaron Sturdivant from the podcast Horror
Oh,
with
I know
Sir
Aaron.
Sturdy out there, that he's like, tell Sam I love him.
Oh, I love Aaron too. I haven't seen him in a
Just
long time.
just like he said last time I said you were going to be.
That's right. Yeah, I feel like I'm having deja vu.
I actually when I set up my little recording area here at home, recorded an episode of his podcast first the other day to really test out the stuff. So be on the lookout, people out there, for a new episode of Horror with Sir Sturdy, where we talk about the movie Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh my god, that fucking movie.
Have you seen that one too?
Oh yeah, of course I've seen that one.
Actually, I think that was an 86 movie too.
Yeah, I mean, aren't all those like weird? Isn't that like when all those weird, funky, I don't know, borderline horror movies? I guess.
I don't know. I love those ridiculous, over the top comedy type horror movies.
Yeah. That's mid 80s. That's the time.
Yeah, and 80s was the perfect time for that kind of cheese. And I was mentioning this to him when I was watching it. In the early beginning, there's one scene where, this teenager's just waiting to cross the street carrying 2 grocery bags full of beer. And he goes to take a sip from the can and it just says beer on the side in big letters. That's a hell of a prop.
I should do that. That'd be a hell of That'd be such a great looking can of beer right now, though, wouldn't it?
It's just like a white label that just says beer.
Can you imagine that now on the shelves with all the different, companies are paying people thousands of dollars to do artwork and shit, and just having that one can that says beer or Duff or something like that. Like, that's it.
It'd be pretty funny to see what people's reactions were for that.
I may do that.
There you go. And, give me the credit because I just brought that up.
You got it.
All right. So I think we might as well wrap up. I don't know. It's going to be interesting going forward with these at-home quarantine episodes. Maybe I'll just rattle off a bunch of shorter ones and check in on people or one.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? You, like the rest of us, just figure it out as you go.
One positive aspect is now that I don't have to worry about getting home after, I can get even more ripped.
Yes.
As I do this. As now I only have to try to walk to the couch afterwards.
Well, it works out if you bring a little cooler with you and you put it next to the couch. I found that works pretty well for me.
Well, I suppose just walking to the couch could have its challenges too, depending on how much I drink.
That is also factual. Have you had Scott Veltman on here yet from Indian Ladder Farms?
He was on briefly. I did go to Indian. I did an episode at Indian Ladder Farms, but I talked to Dietrich.
Oh, okay. Yep.
For most of the time, and then talked to Scott for like the last 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, Dietrich's the man. Scott's good for airtime.
Maybe I'll get a hold of him and check in on how things are going at the farm these days.
Yeah, good idea. He lives on the farm, so he's probably getting bored up there.
Farm life's already a different type of life to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to do it for this episode of Stories from a Bar. Sam, thanks for taking some time on your day off to hang out, drink some beers virtually, and, share some stories about life on the road.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. I look forward to listening to the podcast.
Awesome. Yeah, obviously, like we talked about, it's a crazy time out there these days. For people wondering or who may not already know, what can they do right now to help support C.H. Evans?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say to do is definitely follow us on our Facebook and Instagram page. That's where we keep everybody up to date on what's going on, hours as they change, menu items as they change. That's really like our point of contact with the public. Tuesday through Sunday, we're open almost all day until usually around like 8 o'clock or so. You can call the restaurant directly for takeout or curbside pickup at 518-447-9000. And when you do order directly through us, we also throw in a $5 gift card just to say thank you.
Nice.
Or you can also find us on Grubhub and Uber Eats for your food needs. We also do Crowler deliveries. That's all coordinated by myself. Again, I just post out my number when I'm on the road and what I have available. So again, just follow our social media and you'll get really up-to-date stuff with that for what I'll have, where I'll be, that kind of thing, and how to get in touch with me. So that would be the number one way to support us through all of this. And again, those of you who already have, thank you so much. Those of you that are thinking about it, we're still here.
Awesome. Now you heard the man. Follow their social media really for all the information you'll need. And while we didn't go into, of course, everything about or deep dive into C.H. Evans and the history behind it, if you're interested in that, you can always go back and check out episode 14 where Sam and I talked all about that. A big thank you to everyone out there for checking out the show. You can find Stories from a Bar on Facebook and, of course, follow the show on Instagram and Twitter at StoriesFAB. You'll find the show on Apple and Google Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, pretty much wherever you would go to look for a podcast. Hopefully you'll find Stories from a Bar there. If not, certainly let me know more than anything. And also be sure to subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. And even more importantly, leave a fantastic review and help spread the word. So until next time, cheers.